The last couple of videos have been a bit on the philosophical side, which again I apologise for. But we should welcome questions which probe our understanding, probe our realisation even. How do we know we're not just getting ourselves into a good mood? How do we know we're not just whipping ourselves up into a happy state? The last couple of videos have been a little bit convoluted as we try to appreciate the philosophical argument that's been put across. But really, philosophically, this is the simplest way of understanding things. We don't need to get into heavy polemics. It's only when we try to put something into words, it's only when we try to put something like this into words that it comes across as quite convoluted. It's the difference between listening to music and talking about music. You can talk about music endlessly, getting into some very heavy theory. But music is ultimately something that has to be listened to. And in that listening, there's a certain simplicity. So this understanding is actually very simple. We're moving away from the conventional understanding. The conventional understanding of a me here experiencing a world out there. This world out there, which by common consensus, whether religious or scientific, is taken as reality. At some point, as enlightenment practitioners, we realise that this is not the case. And there are various arguments we can use to back this up. My own favourite one, it's not so much an argument actually as a stating an analogy, is looking at how consciousness works. And we get a clear picture of how consciousness works in the phenomenon of dream. In dream, an objective world is created. We say now that it wasn't created, but at the time, it's very, very real. There's space, movement, other people, other entities, other scenes. It's there. No matter how much we might dismiss it now, after the fact, at the time, it's very, very real. And okay, we want to keep dismissing that reality now that we're awake. But remember at the time how real it was. Even if somebody in the dream suggests it's a dream, or even if you're vaguely aware it's a dream, it's also real. It's also real. So we have to question that feeling, that belief in the reality of what we're experiencing. Right now, we're absolutely certain that this is real. This world is real. The subjective world is real. But no, we question this. As enlightenment practitioners, we question this. In fact, we don't buy into it at all. And this is where the next verse takes off. Verse 575. As there is nothing existing now, so there was nothing existing previously. Where there is no objective world, how can a mind which is bound up with an objective world take its rise? So this is a rhetorical question. There isn't anything existing now. It's of the nature of dream. And in the dream, You meet a friend, an old friend, somebody that's been a friend since childhood. There's a history. Your friend has a history, and you've got a history with that friend. It all comes into existence at the point of the dream. So try to apply this understanding to this reality that you're experiencing now, because you're only aware of this reality because you're conscious. Consciousness is doing its thing. Consciousness is doing its thing right now. It's creating this apparent external reality, and in this apparent external reality there are other beings with history. There's you with a history. You're part of that creation as well. It's all going on. Come back to the truth of this consciousness, this awareness. The next phrase asks the question, where there is no objective world, how can a mind which is bound up with an objective world take its rise? Because this is what happens. A mind bound up with an objective world. This is my mind here and the objective world out there. Your mind and the objective world. It coalesces into this duality. Consciousness projects out of from itself, and this is how we get a mind bound up with an objective world. But once we realize the nature of consciousness, consciousness is liberated. It's not me that's liberated, it's consciousness that's liberated. Consciousness is liberated once again. It's no longer bound up with this mind. It's no longer locked into this. It's like a magnetic field of mind or individual and objective world. We've got this magnetic field between these two polarities. So it's consciousness that's liberated from this understanding. And this is what's referred to in the next verse. 576. Suchness, emptiness, reality limit, Nirvana, the Dharmadhatu, no birth of all things, self-being. These characterise the highest truth. Suchness is being with what is, rather than being with what we think there is. Emptiness. This is the realization the realization that all our beliefs are insubstantial. A belief is obviously insubstantial, but a belief is what fuels our notions of reality. Reality limit. Well, this is a new term. One of the indications for me when I first realized the truth of endlessness was there can be nothing beyond this. There can be nothing beyond it. This is it. And the expression reality limit is quite an accurate rendering of this realization. There can be nothing beyond this. It's the ultimate. It's the bottom line. Nirvana. And Nirvana is seen as the ultimate goal. Nirvana is the extinction of notions of personal individuality. You realize this is as insubstantial. You realize that the notion of individuality, of the individual, is just as insubstantial as the notion of an objective world. The Dharmadhatu, this is the sphere of truth. This is our enlightenment practice. We keep coming back to this. This more and more becomes our anchor. This becomes more and more the sphere that we inhabit, not the sphere of this dualistic understanding of a me here and a world out there. The no birth of all things. The no birth of all things. We give up on the idea that the world has got a history, an ongoing history. This history is created in the moment. Just as it is in a dream, we see consciousness operating this way in the dream. We've rumbled the way consciousness operates. Self-being. I often refer to this as a sense of being. Part of this realization is a greater sense of being. You become big in relation to what is apparently going on. So this is an interesting list. This list, the items in it characterize the highest truth. So, as enlightenment practitioners, we can look at these terms to see if we can connect with them. Do they accurately indicate the nature of our realization? It's good to question it and to test it.